Do I feel like people are awake? No, I don't. I feel like people just jump on trends. I feel like a lot of people jump on trends, man, and it's sickening. You know, the internet is full of fake news. Social media is full of fake news. I don't jump on anything until I can verify it. There's two sides to it, man. Like, you know, Black Lives Matter movement, everything in that regard. You know, even everything going on with Trump. You know, I love the lens that's being placed on issues that we've been trying to shed light on for many, many years. I really, really appreciate it. And there's a lot of fuck it. Donald Trump in office is it's the most ridiculous thing I ever saw in my life. And there's a lot of people that agree with that, even people that voted for him now. But one thing he is doing is he's forcing everyone to have a conversation. He's forcing everyone. That's the one good thing about him being in office, because he's forcing people to have a conversation, and conversations we're not comfortable with. He's forcing people to have these conversations, and that's the one beautiful thing about it. So on the side of being woke, there's a lot of shit I don't agree with people just jumping on bandwagons and trends and just putting, you know, hashtag this, hashtag that, but they're not really doing anything. The other side of it is when I see, you know, our president, you know, doing what he's doing, but other folks really are being forced to have the conversation, and which it's America right now is such a beautiful and terrible thing at the same time, because of the conversations that we're having everywhere from Colin Kaepernick to, you know, all over the place, because we're having this dialogue. So that's the beautiful thing about it. Well, the flip side of it is when you go to other countries, you go to Europe and you see how united other countries are, you just kind of like, damn, you know, why can't we get on that page? You know, so I don't know if there's, and I'm going off topic from your question, but I don't know if there's an end in sight, but I am happy that we're starting to have the conversations. Man, I love Colin Kaepernick, man. I think Colin Kaepernick is a hero. Any man that can sacrifice his livelihood for people, I'm all about that. You know, I'm all about, like I tell people all the time at my concerts, get out of your world and get into the world of someone else's. There are bigger issues, bigger than the shit you deal with on a daily basis. And then when you're out of your world and someone else's, then your problems are small. Like, you can deal with your problems. So what Colin Kaepernick did, like he took on a huge social issue, and he was the first one to do it. And so, you know, the first one to always do anything will always be the one that they make an example out of. But I think what Colin is doing is courageous, man. And, you know, me as a cat that has a young African-American son, you know, I want him to see things like that, you know? So I tell my son that he's grown up in an amazing time. You know, he got to see a black president, and he gets to see so many strong African-American figures that I grew up hearing about, the Martin Luther Kings, that my mom told me about. You know, it's, you know, I feel like we're in that era again, you know, so it's a beautiful time. My perspective on the NFL is that, you know, the NFL, they needed to do a better job, man. You know, it's like, it's one of those things, bro, where it's tough to put into words, because, you know, when you see something happening and you can't do anything about it, and everybody, and the thing is, they can't even hide it. They can't even hide this shit. Everybody knows that he's being blackballed. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a terrible thing, man, the message that they're sending in a league that's predominantly African-American. You know, it's a terrible message, man. And I think that it's gonna take the players. The players gotta realize that they have more power than they think, man. I think everybody needs to stand by Colin Kaepernick. That's it. Whether you're in the NFL, any sport that you're in, stand by that brother, because what he's doing is he's standing for everyone, man. Colin is a brave soul, man. I think the way to improve race relations in America are just continue to have the conversations. Make people uncomfortable, man. You gotta make people uncomfortable. You know, this has been going on for a long time, but it's just the covers are off. You know, keep making people uncomfortable, having the conversations that you don't want to have. And it's gonna improve. It's going to improve. You know, it's going to improve. That's why I tell people, that's the one great thing about having Donald Trump in office, because he's forcing everybody to have conversations they don't want to have, A. B, he's uniting races. You know, blacks and whites and every different color are coming together because they're like, damn, he's a mirror. You know, he's a mirror of what America has been for so long. You know, and people are looking in the mirror and saying, wow, that's really fucked up. Damn, is that me? You know what I mean? So he's forcing people to really look in the mirror and deal with themselves. if there are folks that agree with his views, they're looking at it like, damn, like is that me? You know what I'm saying? So, and then that changes perspective. So, you know, I think we have a ways to go, but I'm glad the conversations are coming up. That's it. Just got to keep talking about it. The biggest thing I'm concerned about as an American citizen would have to be social injustice. You know, it's the biggest thing I'm concerned about. You know, the world we're leaving for our children. The biggest thing I'm concerned about. And my children's children. You know, to me, that's really important, man. And it's, you know, you can't change the world. You know, you can't change the world. You can't change the world. But it literally starts with just talking to someone. And this is something that I shared at my concert in Chicago tonight. Talk to somebody, man. Like, ask someone how you're doing. We got homegrown terrorists now in America, you know, which is crazy. They're being radicalized, you know, from cats from overseas. And it's like, I look at it, man, I'm like, and it's crazy because it's never a woman that's walking up into a church in Texas and shooting 45 people. It's men. And it's taking, you know, race, religion, and all that out of it. It's men. These are men. And, you know, I think right now, the world and the way society is set up, men have to be strong. We can't be vulnerable. You know, so that's another project that I'm actually working on, a men's group, you know, because I feel like if men have a place where they can go to be vulnerable and they say, yo, look, it's okay, break down. You know, I got you. You know, shit like a guy running a truck into Lower Manhattan wouldn't happen. A guy, and these are just, and it's like, man, we look at these people, man, and we're like, they're just animals, you know, instead of getting into their world really quickly, man, because they weren't always like that, man. Like, they were born the same way we were born. They were nothing. And then along the way, they just got the wrong influence. So you can shift that shit just by walking up to somebody and say, man, how are you? How's your day? How's everything with you? You know, so I encourage everybody. Ask your neighbor how they're doing. Say hello. You have no idea what you can be stopping from happening. You can stop someone from running a car into Lower Manhattan, killing innocent people just by saying, how are you? They could be just having a rough fucking day. You know what I'm saying? They're just looking for attention. That's all they're doing is like, look, please notice me. I'm going through some shit. Give them a hug. Australia actually does that. They have a national holiday where you can ask a person how you're doing. That's it. It's a national holiday. Like, we have to bring shit like that here in the States. But yeah, man, like, that would be my biggest concern, man. You know, social injustice, not having a place for, you know, men to really go where they can be vulnerable. It's important, man, because men are the ones doing this crazy shit. It's not women, you know? So, I mean, those are the two biggest things that I like to change, man.